And as for a last point, I have to say that one of the most dangerous statements I have heard made is that this is the center of al-Qaeda's operations. It is not. Al-Qaeda does not have a center. Al-Qaeda operates in Pakistan. Al-Qaeda operates in Afghanistan. It has distributed networks and affiliates in Algeria. It has ties, awkward as they are, to Hamas. It operates in Lebanon. Whatever happens, we have to deal with not only al-Qaeda, but the two other major Islamist, Sunni, neo-Salafi elements operating in Iraq, and some 30 groups claim to have identified themselves there. We are talking about a network and structure which is international in character, which will be a major threat whether we win or lose in Iraq. And above all, we need to stop using the term al-Qaeda. Most of these groups are affiliated, loosely at best, with al-Qaeda. They are not under its direction. Al-Qaeda in Mesopotamia is the Zarqawi movement, which originated without any ties to al-Qaeda under a leader who never got along with bin Laden till it became politically convenient. The committee must look beyond the name, and it must look beyond Iraq. This is a very real continuing threat, and we need to recognize that the rhetoric about Iraq being a center for al-Qaeda, there is no relation whatsoever to the reality on the ground.
What's realistic as well is to understand the consequences of what will happen if we fail in Iraq. In other words, people aren't just going to be content with driving America out of Iraq. Al-Qaeda wants to hurt us here. That's their objective. That's what they'd like to do. They have got an ideology that they believe that the world ought to live under, and that one way to help spread that ideology is to harm the American people, harm American interests. The same folks that are bombing innocent people in Iraq were the ones who attacked us in America on September the 11th. And that's why what happens in Iraq matters to the security here at home.
Conclusion of this civil war that ultimately fought out between Sunnis and Shias, Shias and Shias, Sunnis and Al-Qaeda. And Al-Qaeda is a relatively small percentage of this overall problem.
What evidence can you present to the American people that the people who attacked the United States on September 11th are in fact the same people who are responsible for the bombings taking place in Iraq? What evidence can you present? And also, are you saying, sir, that Al-Qaeda in Iraq is the same organization being run by Osama bin Laden himself?
Al-Qaeda in Iraq has sworn allegiance to Osama bin Laden. And the guys who had perpetuated the attacks on America, obviously the guys on the airplane are dead, and the commanders, many of those are either dead or in captivity, like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. But the people in Iraq, Al-Qaeda in Iraq has sworn allegiance to Osama bin Laden. And we need to take Al-Qaeda in Iraq seriously, just like we need to take Al-Qaeda anywhere in the world seriously.
Our nation has yet to mobilize to defeat the threat of worldwide Islamic extremism, which has little to do, I believe, with Iraq. Iraq is distracting this country from what should be our focus of main effort. Our leaders have a responsibility to galvanize the American people for what might very well be a decades-long struggle. Americans want to be told the truth.